Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Cape Rugby TV. Nice to have you along, where, of course, on a weekly basis, we take a look at what's happening in the world of club rugby and the extensions thereof. Of course, big thanks to our partners on board with us, Score Energy Drinks. During the course of the show, we're going to give you an opportunity to win yourself a case of Score Energy Drinks. But we're also going to tell you about the Score Western Province Club Rugby Sevens. It is back. We, of course, missed out on it last year, but it is finally here, and some of the clubs will be participating in that. To tell us more about that a little bit later in the show, we're going to catch up with Faisal Felton from Western Province Rugby. Of course, big thanks, of course, to MChem20 for our pharmacy for coming on board with us, and we'll take a look at their public reviews a little bit later during the course of the show. Well, the Durban guys are back on the park. We're going to go down to the training session and bring you some of the highlights and behind the scenes. It was Gardens up against Blue Jets. That's our highlights match of the week. We'll be going to the Gardens football grounds where they were up against Blue Jets. And of course, as I mentioned, we're going to find out about the Score Sevens during the course of the show, so don't go away. But of course, the DHL Western Province Rugby under-20 side is going into the finals of the SA Under-20 Cup. They've had a fantastic season. It's been a tremendous amount of hard work. We've been following their progress every week. We've been going behind the scenes and talking to the guys and interviewing the players. They, of course, shift from the under-20s to the under-20 format. The format is slightly different. But the head coach for the DHL Western Province Rugby under-20 side, Jerome Paarwater, no stranger to Cape Rugby TV. Jerome, welcome back. Long time no see.
Yeah, JP, it's good to be back. And as you say, it was a few months of really hard work, and I've been very, very busy.
Yeah, so Jerome, I mean, tell us what that means. When we talk about hard work, I mean, what does that mean? I mean, we've seen the shift from the under-21 structures into the under-20 structures. And before we start talking about the on-field performance, but what does that mean for you guys from a hard work point of view?
It's a lot, JP, because people won't think that there's such a big gap between the under 20 and the under 21s, because a lot of the under 21 guys, they're basically playing in the Curry Cup or with the Stormers now, but a lot of the under 20 guys were guys coming from school,
Yeah,
and to get bad habits out of these guys, it's like to explain to them, this is now you're basically bordering on senior rugby. Schoolboy rugby is different than senior rugby, and just to get the concentration up and just to explain to them the systems and how you work, it's
yeah.
not the same. So that takes about 2 months to get that bad habits out of them.
I would imagine, I mean, I would imagine though that you're also dealing with a variety of history because every player comes from a different school where every school had a different coach.
Exactly, JP. If you take the guys, if you take, for example, guys from Boys Eye, they're different to guys than Bishops and Rondebos and Weinberg, and to get that mixture together. So you first have to get that out of their system. Okay, it's fine. The rivalry is over now. You're playing for Western Province under 20 now, and you're not at your school where you were the hero or you were the now we're all the same.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
basically what we had to get out of their systems.
And how are things going with the management side? If we're talking about hard work, we know it's not just you. You've got a pretty solid management team around you.
Yeah, JP, it's not every time that we're fortunate to have almost every single guy in our management Springbok. And it make it so much easier. And was also tough for Norman Kabamba and Mbola to get their messages across to the guys. At some stage, the guys don't want to tell them, listen, I've played for the Springboks, I've played for the Stormers, I've done this. I
Yeah,
know what it takes to do this. Because these boys are still young. They don't know these guys. They don't know really seen these guys play. So that was, what I said in the beginning, it was tough, but with the quality coaches and that guys with their experience and just every week share them and have one-on-one with the players and take it in, it make it so much easier for me and Nazim, because these
yeah.
guys, later on the players can relate to this guys and say, okay, this is actually what you mean.
Jerome, and the competition itself now, how tough has the competition been? When the tournament started, we were obviously also excited about the fact that it actually started, because we went through this process together where we kept seeing the tournament being delayed, and we didn't know what fixture dates were going to happen. There was a time there, in fact, that there was a possibility that the tournament wasn't even going to happen. But it did happen. And when you started your first game, if I remember correctly, the first game was a draw. How tough has the competition been? Because did you maybe go into that first game thinking, I think it was a 24-all draw. Did you maybe sit there thinking, oh no, this is going to be a bad season?
JP, I think a lot of people will think, because we played our first game against the Leopards, and in that time was still the tough time of COVID, where people were getting sick, and we had the first game. We had 8 guys out of the team that couldn't play because of
Yeah,
COVID. Some guys were exposed to, because there were 2 or 3 players in a car, so they all had to isolate. So we had 8 guys out the first game. That's not how you want to start your season. And now everybody say, the Leopards is bad, but the Leopards is a team that they played in the Varsity Cup. That
yeah.
whole, basically almost the whole team played in the Varsity Cup. So now you get that guys on a day where you don't have your strongest team, you're in trouble, and it's the first game. So yeah, it was. Luckily, we draw that game, and yeah,
Yeah.
we end up winning all the games, and we haven't lost a game so far. So that was the only sort of bad game.
But now, not only have you not lost any games, Jerome, if I look at the points that you've been putting on the board, you've been putting on some big points. You've been winning with some big margins. If I recall, the Toyota Cheetahs match was something like 64 points on the board. You've really been putting big numbers on. Is that what do you attribute that to? Is it Western Province typical running rugby style? Is it strong up front, or is it a combination of everything?
JP, yeah, we basically our DNA in Western Province is to run the ball, but we had that balance right, because in the beginning the forwards were basically the guys who scoring all the tries, because we score 3 or 4 tries from mauls, and the backs would score 1 try. So from the Sharks game onwards, I said, Bex, I'm going to put a challenge to you now, because our rugby is running rugby. So you're gonna get quality ball. So you're gonna score the tries now. So ever since that, we had that mixture, right, where we give the ball to the backs and they finish off. The game against the EP, we scored 70, 80 points. Then from then onwards, it's all over 40 points, 50 points. So yeah, and we concede 2 tries per game, maybe one. So we got that balance right between attacking rugby and defense well.
So
Defend
we've
well.
been we've been behind the scenes with you guys, obviously every week. We've been interviewing the players, catching some of the training footage. We of course have them on the show tonight again. How's the confidence in the team from a coaching perspective?
JP, it make it so much easier as a coach. Once the players start to believe in the coaching, in your coaching philosophy, and all the coaches around you, and they start to believe in what the players say, it make it so much easier. Then we can go back every Monday in our video session. This is what we talk about. This is what we talk about. This is
Yeah.
what you guys can do. So we don't have to be afraid to play rugby. If I just take the semi-final against the Bulls, everybody was talking about the Bulls. So I say, look, these guys are the same age as you guys. The only difference is that everybody has got this idea about the Bulls, but they don't know how Western Province can play rugby. So if we go out there and play the Western Province brand of rugby, it will be easy.
But I think from our side, it's been fantastic to obviously follow the progress. I think people also should maybe realize that thanks to the likes of yourself and the Stormers and the under 20s, we've actually been able to talk about rugby. We've actually been able to follow players, and that has made, I think, a huge difference to our fans, to the people that watch us, to the clubs out there, just knowing that rugby's staying active. And so, I think we tip our hat to you guys, the management team, the players, for not just doing so well, but also for just getting on the park and playing rugby. We're super grateful to you guys, and we wish you guys the very best for next week.
Yeah, thanks, JP. And I must also say thanks to you in Cape TV, you in Renzel for coming out, whether it's rain or sunshine. You guys are always there. And it also make the players feel special, JP. You won't understand how good this is for the players because their families are somewhere in Joburg, somewhere in Uppington, all over the world. They can switch on Cape TV Wednesdays, see their sons talking, and it makes a huge difference in this young player's life. Just they feel special for what you guys are also do, and there's a lot behind the scenes that people don't know what's happening.
Making me feel emotional, Jerome. We'll leave it at that, and we'll say to you, thanks very much. We'll, as we say, best of luck, and we'll catch up again soon.
Thank you very much.
There we go, folks. DHL Western Women's Rugby Under-20 head coach Jerome Paarwater, of course, regular contributor on the show, panel member, in fact. Just haven't been able to do what we've been doing for so many years. We're just doing it slightly different now. But wow, the Under-20 is doing really well, and I think we're lucky to see the leadership there at the squad, and that's really great. So of course we will keep following the progress. Don't go away. When we come back from the break, we are in fact going to be showing you some of the interviews with the players, as well as some of their highlights from their practice session. Back in a sec.